everyone, and welcome back to the Cheesehead and the Viking. This is episode 2. It is our Week 8 recap and Week 9 preview. First of all, what the fuck was that from the Vikings?
Hey, don't you start.
Okay,
There's been enough.
Then before we start,
there's been enough down things in my life this weekend.
Yeah, fair. Well, then before we get started, then let's go through our sponsor talks. We've got a new sponsor, New Dawn Carpentry. They're based in Tweed Heads. Jake Watson, a very good bloke and very good at what he does. If you need any building, whether it's small things like a deck or you need building site workers or whatever, go through New Dawn Carpentry. But they work and service the areas of Tweed Heads all the way up to the Gold Coast. Be sure to give them a call. Tell them the Cheesehead and the Viking sent you. Now, again, what the fuck was that? Zimmer?
Zimmer. Oh, man. It was a shit show, wasn't it? I mean...
Yeah, sorry, but it was.
The very basics of it. Obviously, Vikings 2016 loss to the Cowboys. And not just the Cowboys, with a backup QB.
Yeah.
And
a Dackless.
Yeah, easily one of the worst performances of the year, I'd have to say. Definitely the worst performance from Cousins this season. Mm-hmm. It was just who has been looking great, but so it was just a head scratcher.
It was a clusterfuck.
Yeah, and there was some good parts. The first drive,
mate. The first drive, holy shit!
The first drive was amazing. I mean,
and then it was all downhill.
Yeah, I mean, like when you start off with an absolute killer.
When you start off scoring on the first drive, you expect, okay, we're going to win
right.
here.
Exactly. And you start off with an absolute killer throw to Conklin, of all people. You throw into a tight end down the sideline. Great catch, great run. Push down the field a couple more great ones. And then just a nice screen in, Thielen in, like typical. And it looked like, straight off on that first drive, you're pumping fists as a Vikings fan thinking, this is going to be great. Like, we're in for a show here. They're gonna really turn it up on Sunday night.
The Cowboys were going to turn it up as well.
Yeah, and surely the Cowboys at that point started thinking, shit, here we go. What's going to happen? Hopefully they don't just absolutely, kill Cooper Rush. But from that point onwards, it was just like this. Probably a bit after that. Maybe I'll give them conservatively. Let's get them to into the second quarter. It was like a switch turned, and we just went back to the old conservative nature of Zimmer and
of rush, try a pass on the third.
Yeah, doing nothing. Yeah, get to third downs, don't convert. Get to third downs, don't kick the ball. Let's punt that away. Let's take a field goal. What are we doing? Why are we not?
I don't know.
Why are we not trusting in an offense that is full of stars?
And the quarterback to call his own timeouts.
Oh yeah, let's go with that one. The timeout situation was ridiculous.
It was farcical, in all honesty, wasn't
it? Yeah, like the first half one. So he came out after in the press conference with Kurt, where he said that I let Zim call the timeouts. I don't know what he wants to do with them, mate. Why are you not calling your own timeouts in that situation?
Yeah.
Number one, you're a 10-year veteran. You should know when to call a timeout.
It's not like you're a rookie or anything.
You shouldn't have to wait for the dude on the sideline to call a timeout because you've not left enough time on a clock to make the play. But because of that led him there, they made a great push down the middle and got him to the cells where they were going to have to play hurry up. And you could see that Kurt saw that straight away because he was running. And he was the first one to run. I don't think he waited for the call from Kubiak either. I think he was just moving, and he knew it was going to be a hurry up. He runs down, and none of the O-line got set. They didn't know what play. He's trying to communicate a play with them, and they don't know what they're playing.
Yep.
Do we not know any hurry up plays that we can just throw two fingers up and say, this is what we're going to do, go now? What are you doing? And at the point where it wasn't working and time was ticking down, that's the point where Kurt himself should have just gone, no, time out. Like, get this set. We can't do it. And if Zim was going to have a go at him later, he would have had a go at him later about it. I would have just done it. I would have done it. And
I would have done what was for the, the betterment of the team.
Yeah. It's easy to make a fuck up.
Do it now and answer the question. Exactly. Yeah. Fuck. 100%. And again, I was going to say I don't like to put shit on the Vikings, but of course I do. I'm a cheesehead. But like, you hate to see it, you really do.
Other things, and I know, I really, if we'd started this pod at the start of the season or pre-season, and we'd got to this week 8 thing, I think everyone would have been ready for me to have a full-on rant. We're 2 weeks in now, and I'm going to rant hard about the Vikings.
Do it.
The
Get
TD,
comfy, everyone. Get a pillow, get some popcorn.
the TD in the first half, right? Those 2 amazing plays that we just talked about.
Mate, that shit got me rattled. I was like, oh, shit, they're coming good here, you know?
That's right. They didn't use those 2 plays at all again in the entire game. What? We're going to do that.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You know what we did instead? 1,000 tight end screens. No, too easy. Run tight end screen here. Run tight end screen here. Third down. Oh, tight end screen. No, miss pass. Okay, let's just punt it. What? Yeah. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just
keep going.
Unbelievable.
Keep going. Rant away.
Second half timeouts. Let's go on with those. Zimmer calling back-to-back timeouts because he forgot or someone forgot to remind him that he'd already called one. Dude, what are you doing?
That's a weak excuse.
It is. You've been a coordinator long enough in your life that you should remember that you just called a timeout a minute ago. What are you? I don't know.
Do you think it's time?
Are we getting on in age? Are we senile yet, or what?
Well, I mean, he's been the coach for 8 seasons, is it, at the Vikings?
Yeah, 8 years.
And how many times have you made playoffs in those 8 years?
We made playoffs. What have we had? 5 playoffs, 3 times. 3 times in playoffs. 5 playoff games. Only 2 wins. Yeah. In 8 years? What are you doing?
That's not good enough for a head coach. And again, I don't mean to put shit on the Vikings when I don't have to or don't want to, but I low-key need to on Zimmer right now because that sort of shit, especially saying I forgot that, you know, or old mate forgot to tell me that I'd already called a timeout. No, that's on you as a head coach. I'm sorry. You cannot blame that on anyone else but yourself. If you explicitly, because the quarterback has said, I wait to hear the call from the coach, so therefore the entire team relies on you as the head coach to call the timeouts. You're fuck up. 8 years, 3 playoffs, like 5 games, 2 wins. You need to fuck off. You need to go to a new club or maybe just stop. You know, at the end of this season, I'm sorry, the Vikings need to fucking readjust a lot of the roster, starting with the staff, because as I say, the fish rots from the head down.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally
Sorry
agree.
for that rant. Sorry.
No, go for it. It's how it should be. And anybody with a brain in their mind, whether they're a fan of the Vikings or not, should be able to see that something is wrong here. Mm-hmm. When you've got a talent roster this deep, especially on offense, but on defense as well.
Stacked. Absolutely.
And shit like this.
And you lose to a Dakless Cowboys.
Dakless is the best term ever, by the way.
Right.
It just shouldn't. It shouldn't happen. He's been around long enough that he should have been tested and been able to do what he can do.
Absolutely.
And show what he can do. He's not doing that. I think it's time. And I fear for the future of this season. The only thing that will keep him in this job, I think, by at start of 2022 will be if we go on some kind of weird ass run
miracle
at the end of the season. Yeah, not even a miracle run. If we finish something stupid like 10-7, then
good luck.
Then the Wolf brothers will get all starry-eyed again and go, he can still do it because we've managed to jag a couple of random games that we probably should have lost, just like we lost the others. It just doesn't make. I mean, that is going back to that second half. Those two timeouts. That was 3rd and 16, and at that point the defense was smashing the Cowboys, and they were on fire. 3rd and 16, every man and his 1,000 dogs could see that was probably going to be a stop and a likely field goal, which would have drawn the game and sent him in an OT. Instead, we get a penalty because he's called a consecutive timeout, lost the timeout, makes it 3rd and 11. Zeke does an absolute barnstorming 15-yard run to set him up for a first down, and then a touchdown on the first down. Jesus! So we've lost the game right there. I mean, we had no hope in the last 55 seconds. You get to those last.
It could have been worse. It could have been Tom Brady's last play against the Saints, but we'll cover that later on. Go ahead.
You get to the last 55 seconds though. 55 seconds is a long time on the clock in a 2-minute drill,
especially if you've got timeouts on in your weapon of in your arsenal.
Which we didn't, but it's still a long time to go.
Yeah.
But I think good old Mike Boone on the Purple Daily podcast for this little name for Kirk Cousins now. Good old check down Charlie.
Yeah,
he checked down on every fucking play.
Yep.
because he got rushed or hurried. Like, mate, there's people around you. There's plays you can make. It's all because Cousins can't move out of the pocket. And
Yeah.
it's just, I don't understand it. And it baffles me. It really baffles me. But surely this has to signal the end for Zimmer and definitely for Kubiak. I can't imagine that kid getting a job with him again or keeping the job.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see if it does and where we go from here, because there have been some pretty wild names sort of thrown around.
Especially if anyone's on the Vikings Facebook pages or forums on Reddit or whatever, people are calling for Zimmer, Kubiaks, and even some are calling for Cousins heads as well. You know, so and I hate to say it, but deservedly so. If you're a disgruntled Vikings fan, I can absolutely understand. The Packers Cardinals game this week was honestly the game of the week, really. Obviously, as a Packers fan, of course it was. But in saying that, it literally had everything. Like, the Packers shut down the Cardinals for a good 30 minutes of play during that game. You know, and Cardinals took the lead early on in the game with a touchdown from Chase Edmonds, which it was a great touchdown from Chase Edmonds. I will give that credit, absolutely. But some standouts, though. You know, A.J. Dillon, 16 carries. This is just his rushing yards. 16 carries at 70 yards total, right? 78 yards total. That's pretty fucking good. And Aaron Jones, though, on the receiving and the fucking rushing yards, 59 yards for rushes, 51 yards from 7 receptions. That's a total of over 100 fucking yards rushing and passing. How fucking well-rounded of a receiver do you fucking want? And unfortunately, we had 2 injuries happen in that game. Robert Tonyan, but he got 49 yards from 3 receptions before he did his ACL on that last reception. As a Packers fan, and I'm sure as a Chiefs and a Viking, you don't want to see any players get injured regardless, especially in ACL. So we wish him nothing but the best with the speedy recovery. As they say, the comeback's greater than the setback, and the footage will be shown just down below. Let us know what you think, because I think he jolted a bit, and I was like, shit, I hope it's not an ACL. Next minute, ACL. And then another injury, Kylan Hill, our punt returner.
It was it's a pretty brutal hit. Definitely brutal hit. I mean, that was at speed. Both those boys were at speed.
There was no getting out of it, given what they were doing. But
I mean, you got Newton's law is in full effect at that point, really. You knew something was going to happen, and the instant it did, you could see it. I mean, when you got one guy twitching on the ground, grabbing his knee, and the other guy completely knocked out.
Knocked out. Yep.
Yeah, you know, he was out. He was out cold. Like he was in Tomorrowland.
He was in La La Land. Absolutely. But Henry Black with a pick 6. And then at the very end of the game, though, a person who was a Cardinal up until about 3 weeks ago, he comes on, and what does he do? He fucking clutches the game. Russell Douglas. Or Russell, probably saying it wrong, but Russell Douglas. Mate,
who actually, even up to that point, without the pick 6, he had a stellar game.
Didn't he?
He was on, what am I looking at? 9 tackles.
He had 9 tackles and an intercept at the end.
At that point, he's already ahead of the rest of his D-line on tackles. So he already had a stellar game.
And this was at his former home stadium up until of about 3 weeks ago. And
he's got a little bit of an advantage because he would have obviously been doing a lot of weekly drills against the Cardinals.
He would have heard some play calls that were familiar to him. But he wasn't even, if you watch the footage, which will pop down here for anyone to watch, he wasn't even looking for the ball. He was just trying to cover his man, and the ball fell into his fucking lap, more or less. It was a gifted interception, but not as gifted. That was
a gifted. The Packers had lost that game. At the point where Kyler Murray threw that ball, the Packers were dead.
We'd lost it. Yep.
And 2 seconds later, when you've basically just got a receiver going, what just happened? That wasn't my play. Well, again, we get back to dumb stuff like I'm ranting about Vikings, but it's
no, it's very true. It's very, I literally had accepted, the last 2 minutes to 3 minutes of that game, mate, I was butthole clenched because it was that close of a game, but I was also like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
You know, what the fuck are the Packers doing? And literally hoping for a miracle that did come in the form of a Douglas interception. But fuck, if we didn't get that, game over. You know?
Yep.
It was literally like it was a gift from the football gods. Whereas we haven't got a gift from the football gods this week. Aaron Rodgers has tested positive to COVID-19. And it's fucked because he is unvaccinated. It's not the fact he's. It's not as
I
if he's
I don't want to
vaccinated.
laugh. I don't want to laugh
No,
about
go
people
for it.
getting COVID-19.
I definitely think, like, if you're a high-profile athlete and you're a leader of men because he's a captain, obviously, and he's the quarterback, and he's unvaccinated, what does that say about a so-called leader? Like, don't get me wrong, I do obviously have a Rodgers jersey up there, but still, if you're doing that and you test positive, and because he hasn't been vaccinated, mate, that sets a fucking bad taste in my mouth. However, though, Jordan Love is getting his first career start. Very good luck to him, and hopefully we can do a job on the Chiefs. However, I don't fucking know how it'll go. What are your thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers debacle?
Oh, mate, I have to laugh about it because in August he told people that he'd been immunised.
Yep.
He said he'd been immunised, and then obviously he's not vaccinated. I mean, that came out. And that
However,
got confirmed by.
it did come out. However, you can still get COVID while being fully vaccinated.
Absolutely.
So
but
we're just letting people know right now that we don't want to. We're not saying, oh, you can't get it if you're vaccinated. You can. We just want to clarify that right now. Sorry, continue, mate.
Did you hear how he got it though? What the thing was?
It was at the Halloween party or something, wasn't it?
No, he went to he went to see someone doing natural remedies and natural things to boost his antibodies. Are you
okay.
What are we doing?
What? Like what?
It's there's this thing called science, Aaron.
Like literally, okay, so you know Aaron's face in that in the one that's gone famous over this weekend from that hit.
Oh,
that's my face trying to.
I think that's every Packers.
What the fuck he was thinking of going to the naturopath.
that's every Packers fan right now.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand it. Like it is. It's a red hot opportunity for Jordan Love though.
Absolutely.
That's what's going to come out of that.
Well, I should think of it. At one point, Aaron Rodgers was once the stand-in for Favre.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And now Rodgers got to spend a mandatory 10 days away from the team.
Yep.
So that rules him out for this week.
Mm-hmm. And almost next week if he's not able to train.
Well, that's right. It said in one report he can rejoin the day before their Week 10 matchup against Seahawks.
Yeah, but that's not training with the team though.
That's right.
So
are
maybe
they going to want to? Yeah, are they going to want to play him? Now and then when I get to Love, it's a red hot opportunity for Love because he needs to show that he can do the job. He needs to show that he can do a job, because if he doesn't, the Packers have already signed Blake Bortles.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Bortles is itching to take the spot.
That's right. Bortles will show that he can do a job. Because
it was literally a toss-up up until we got the final word from the NFL Network saying, Love is getting his first start. I was like, is it going to be Bortles or is it going to be Jordan Love?
That's right, exactly. So he needs to. And good, I hope the kid does. I really hope the kid does.
I hope he does well. I hope he at least does well enough to keep the spot next week. Now, on to the Vikings Cowboys game. We just did a little bit of the recap. Is there anything more you want to add to that before we go to our next, which is non-Packers and non-Vikings games of the week?
No, mate. No, I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Well then,
I don't need to more. I don't need to rant anymore. Nobody in my world or in my life needs to hear me rant more.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
force it on enough people in my life anyway. And I'm sure if this garbage continues into week 9, you're going to hear me rant more. So.
Absolutely. So we'll go for our non-Vikings for you and non-Packers for me game of the week. For me, it's 2 games. I could not separate the two purely because I fucking hate Tom Brady. So the 2 games of the week for me that were non-Packers games were Seahawks versus Jaguars. That was the first game because the Seahawks were coming off 3 straight losses. They desperately needed a win. The Jaguars, if you lose to the Jaguars, you more or less don't even bother staying in the comp, let's be honest. And they were 3 losses in a row, needed the win, and they fucking did a number on the Jaguars, 31-7. Honestly, they did what they needed to do, and they executed it to perfection. Because the Jaguars didn't even score a touchdown until I think the 4th quarter. It was fucking good. And the second game is New Orleans Saints. You know what it is against the fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because first of all, fuck you, Tom Brady.
I think that's one of mine as well, by the way.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Tom Brady did have a good game until the end when he passed perfectly a nice, clean pick 6 to PJ Williams. And, like, the Vikings, the Saints had already got a field goal. And they got a field goal as in to try and, go the onside kick sort of thing. Obviously, Bucks get the ball, and then Brady just fucking boom. Literally, it was almost as if he was on the Saints team. That's how clean this pass was to PJ Williams.
It was absolutely.
Oh.
But there was when you look at the replay of that, which I'm sure we're seeing
the replay will be played right down here. Yep.
You can see there's guys on there, and the first one was Leonard Fournette. There's 3 opportunities, 2 probably, but 3 guys that should have put him out over that sideline. He was running down the sideline. First up, Leonard Fournette got hands on him, didn't push him over the sideline.
Yep.
So that would have killed the play as well. And then there's 2 guys, and I couldn't see who they were on the replay, but there was 2 others, 2 other Bucks players there that should have pushed him out over the sideline at that point. It dumbfounds me how they don't, and if they did, that was that play dead. But
still win or possibly, but still play dead.
Yeah, but I think that was one of my big ones. Seeing, unfortunate, it was heartbreaking for me because, as I said last week, I'm a big Jameis fan. Seeing him go out hurt, and now so it's a ACL and suspected MCL injury.
Not
so
good.
The double, it's that's a long way back for poor Jameis. But seeing Trevor Siemian come in and basically just execute, he missed a few passes. He didn't do amazing, but he missed a few passes. But he did what he was supposed to do as a backup and come in and just play straight down the line. Are we going to see Trevor Siemian in future weeks? And I'll be still watching Saints games. I don't know why.
Saints I don't know why, but Saints are captivating. They really are.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know why, but are we going to see him again? Maybe, maybe not. There's other QBs out there. Yeah. There's other options. God knows why no one's contacted Cam Newton yet. That dude's still out there training, and he's just in limbo. But no one's ever talking about him. Right. But there was a report that Phil Rivers,
linebackers, right? Clay Matthews
Phil
is
Rivers
still a free
is all
agent.
there all of a sudden going me.
Right,
so,
right. And same with linebackers. Clay Matthews is still a free agent listed in the NFL, but hasn't played a game since like 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's a weapon, as you know. So who wouldn't want to pick him up?
That's right. So I mean, we'll see. Anyway, we'll see this week because no doubt I'll still watch it.
Casualty ward from this week's games. Is there any casualty ward listings that you need to mention for the Vikings?
Danielle Hunter is the big one, which is unfortunate. Danielle Hunter's gone for the season now with a torn pectoral muscle, which it's probably one of the sorer ones to rip a pec. So he's gone. So he gets added to the long injury list. And gone for the season, which is a real shame. Shame for him too, because I believe he's on the last year of his contract, so we may not even, depending on what the Vikings want to do, we may not see Danielle Hunter in a Vikings jersey again.
Ooh, that's no good. Well, we definitely wish him the best with his recovery, and as we say, comeback is much better than the setback. For the Packers casualty ward, I already mentioned him anyway. Kylan Hill done his knee; he won't return this season. Robert Tonyan Jr., again, knee, ACL, so the same thing, really. He won't return this season. And obviously, latest news, technically is casualty ward if you think about it. The BS of Aaron Rodgers, COVID, obviously. But yeah, it's fucked. Very unfortunate. As in Robert Tonyan and Colin Hill. Aaron brought that on himself, and I have no sympathy for him. Right, so we've done the casualty awards. Now it's time for the new Dawn Carpentry MVP of the week. We've both this week again got separate ones. I wonder if there'll ever be a week where we'll have the same one.
Well, I'm sure there will be.
I'm absolutely sure there will be at some point. But if you guys want to find out if we ever manage to,
it'll be when Packers and Vikings play, and I convince you that we have an MVP instead.
No, that won't happen.
Or to be when Rodgers destroys us, and I sit there going, "I'm picking a Packer," and then everyone from the purple community hates me for life.
So
that's never happening, by the way, ever.
Not yet. So
never. I've never.
No, the key word is not yet. If the Packers and Vikings play each other ever in a Super Bowl and the Packers win, you know that there's no Viking that's going to get MVP, right?
You never say never, but never.
Well, they've never played in the Super Bowl yet, so that's true. So new Dawn Carpentry MVP of the week for me, I give it to Tom Brady for the Saints. Because he just did an absolute job with passing accuracy to PJ Williams to get the touchdown on the dying minutes for the New Orleans Saints. Well done, Tom Brady. And who's your pick for this week?
For me, it's actually Mike White on the Jets.
Okay. What a basic name, though. We were
Mike
just saying
White,
that.
the greatest name in
That's
football.
like John Smith.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah, I think Mike White for me. I think every Jets fan here in the world was basically pissed off with the Jets after week 7. It was given up on life and saying,
Yep.
"Who are you? What the hell is going on?" So I don't think they expected much coming out of this. And all of a sudden, Mike White shows up on Sunday and throws for 400 yards and a ridiculous completion percentage.
Yeah.
For the way, 37 of 45, 3 touchdowns. He's still 2 interceptions, but Jesus Christ, I think it's him. I think he gave Jets fans a little bit of a step, a pump and step. But I've no doubt
Is
that a
Joe
lot of Jets.
Flacco gonna take over, or do you
Well,
think he's cemented a spot for at least this week coming up?
I don't know. That's the funniest part of the whole situation was the Jets going out, rushing out with the injury to Zach Wilson, rushing out and signing Joe Flacco from the Eagles. And the Eagles said, "Yep, no problem." Off he goes. But what did Joe say? He said, "Oh, sorry, I can't turn up for a couple of extra days. Is it a problem?" Jets said, No, turn up on Saturday, it'll be fine." Which meant Mike White was starting. And now it looks like Mike White is starting again because I can't see how they can't.
How would you not?
I'm sure at this point
there was 2 interceptions, but 37 of 45 pass attempts completed.
Yep, that's right. I'm
and
sure
over 400 yards.
Exactly, over 400 yards. I'm sure that that the Jets as an organisation go, let's see what Mike White can do this week. Which means Joe Flacco's on the outer again. Yeah, and the whole thing compounds down the line. It'll make the whole thing at Philly very interesting as well because now Minshew is second, is QB2 behind Jalen Hurts, and I don't think the Eagles are very happy with Jalen Hurts at the moment, or probably think that he probably needed a bit more time. Yep. So could we be seeing Gardner Minshew QB1 soon for the Eagles?
Possibly.
That's going to be an interesting time, I think. So
yeah.
Anyway, for me, MVP of the week would be Mike White.
And absolutely deservedly so. So well done to our new Dawn Carpentry MVPs of the week. Now, week 9 preview. Obviously, we got 2 games in particular that we'll obviously be focusing on. I'll be focusing on the Packers Chiefs, and you'll obviously be focusing on the Battle of the Purple, the Ravens against the Vikings. So I'll give a little bit of a preview for mine. No A-Rod, as we covered just before. Jordan Love first start, and we're going up against a fucking hungry Chiefs because they haven't had the greatest start to this season. And you know when the Chiefs get backed into a corner a little bit of no wins, they're going to come out and thump a fucking team at some point. And unfortunately, I have a feeling it's going to be the Packers. I don't think they're going to flog us, but I think they're going to comfortably win by 2, maybe 3 touchdowns. Again, Jordan Love, granted it'll be his first start, and I think he'll throw pretty well, and I think he'll do well, but I just think Chiefs by 2 or 3 touchdown points difference, unfortunately, and I hate to say it because I fucking hate the Chiefs, but yeah. What's your predictions and your preview for the Vikings Ravens?
The Viking Ravens going to be it'll be interesting. It'll be tough though. We got the 3 and 4 Vikings now, which is an amazing stat line, up against the 5 and 2 Ravens. So it's going to be hard. Prediction wise, I think again it'll be a hard game. I don't know how that offense is really going to play out. The stat lines don't look so great in favour of the Vikings. I think the biggest thing will be, and it's a bit of a feeling I've had about the Ravens for a while. I think if a team can get out early, which lots of teams this year have gotten out early against the Ravens, lots of teams have got out early against the Ravens this season, but they managed to get themselves back into games, just grind a team and get themselves right back and then win a game, and weirdly score a lot of points in fourth quarters.
Yep. They basically win the game in the fourth quarter at the moment.
Exactly. Really. So I think the key for the Vikings is try and get out actually early and more than a 1-score lead, for God's sakes. Get out early and then really try and defend properly while still actually attacking. It's the same script that we should have used against the Cowboys if Dak was playing. It's exactly the same as last week. It's what we have to do.
So I forgot to tell you. Did you hear about? And I hate to put shit on the Vikings. I mean, I don't, but I do. They're training for the week leading up to the Cowboys. They literally were just telling him to train as if Dak was playing. And that's, in my opinion, what let them the fuck down. What are your thoughts on, finding out they were just told to watch game tapes and all that sort of stuff, mainly of Dak? Which I think was a great mind game from the Cowboys.
Yeah, but they knew that there was a really good possibility that Cooper Rush was going to be playing.
Yep.
Regardless.
So they should have prepared.
They should have prepared for him. Yeah, and they just flat out didn't prepare for him. They reckon. I mean, you listen to Zim. He said we prepared for him. But you listen to the players, and they were open and said we didn't watch any footage, especially his D. They said no, we didn't watch any Cooper Rush footage.
I think it was one player, I can't remember, who literally only watched 3 videos of Cooper Rush.
That's right. So
what?
Yeah. So I think the key this week will be really getting out early. It's got to be offense based.
Yeah, of course.
The D aren't going to. They're going to play their normal game, conservative wise. And if they can, I don't know how they lock down such a rushing line with Lamar Jackson, really. But Latavius Murray, maybe not, has a game. He's so up and down lately. So you just don't know. So that's
what about
scoreline
prediction? If the Vikings do pull out the win, how many? What scoreline? Don't have
if
to say specific points though.
If we pull out a win, it'll be a typical 3-point win. So
typical this season 3-point win, yeah. Bless you. That's a good. I'll edit that out. Yeah. If we
I don't know, if we pull out a win, it'll be 3 points, I think.
Okay.
If it's worse, if we are losing, it's going to be big. It'll be probably a score, maybe more, I think.
Like a cricket score, more or less.
Not a cricket score, but I think more like a 10-point scoreline. I think they'll punish us if we play so disjointed like we did last week. It'll be bad. So.
Yes. Well, that about wraps up the Week 9 preview and Week 8 recap for the Cheesehead and the Vikings. So thank you very much, guys, for listening, and make sure to stay cheesy.